John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.
Damn it! Can't believe this.
Oh, Miss Spot.
What spot? Hey, how come you didn't tell me you were going fishing?
You not here when I go.
Well, maybe I would have wanted to go. You ever think of that?
You karate training.
I'm what? I'm being your goddamn slave is what I'm being, man. Now, we made a deal here.
So?
So you're supposed to teach and I'm supposed to learn, remember? For 4 days, I've been busting my ass. I haven't learned a goddamn thing.
You learn plenty.
I learned plenty. I learned how to sand your decks, maybe. I wax your car, paint your house, paint your fence. I learned plenty, right?
Not everything is as same.
Oh, bullshit. I'm going home, man.
Daniel-san! Daniel-san!
What?
Come here. Show me sand the floor.
I can't move my arm, all right? What are you doing? What are you... Ow! Ow, what are you doing?
Now show me sand the floor.
How did you do that?
Shut up!
Sand the floor.
Hey, stand up. Show me sand the floor. Sand the floor. Sand the floor. Big sucker, sand the floor. Sand the floor. Yes. Now show me wax on, wax off. Hey.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. Hey, wax on, hot. Wax off, hot. Concentrate. Look at my eye. Lock a hand. thumb inside. Wax on, hot. Wax off, hot. Wax on, hot. Wax off, hot. Wax on. Wax off. Show me penta fence. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Other side. Look eye. Always look eye. Show me paint the house. Side, side. Lock wrist. Side, side. Side, side. Yes. Show me wax on, wax off. That! Show me paint the fence. That! Show me side to side. That! Show me sand or floor. Oi. Look eye. Always look eye. Come back tomorrow.
Hey, you epic being. Welcome. It's Andre Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, Servant of Truth, with you once more. Thank you as always for allowing me to be a part of your journey, investing some of your precious peak awareness time into me and what I've got to offer. Getting towards the end of January 2025, which is fascinating. So much has been happening, alright? Big things in the world, some good and some bad, and perhaps in your life as well. Perhaps you're in regions at the moment that are experiencing a lot of challenge, a lot of heat, a lot of cold, all sorts of stuff. And you, in it all, perhaps being a awareness authority so far ahead of everyone else, you can just sense the gap that you have now versus everyone else, and finding that you're in a authoritative leadership sort of role wherever you may be, when having some support and appreciation and empathic interactions and stuff is what you yearn for and stuff. So I just want to thank you for all that you've had to endure to get here and allowing me to be still a part of your journey. It's not been easy, hey, alright? But it's also this interesting paradox where perhaps in your body you're feeling like the best you've ever felt, and so aware, and yet see so much and appreciate everything. So I have a few things on the go. I've been working on my version 4.2 of my sovereignty declaration, which getting version 4 out in the last month or so was a really big victory for me. But I've also worked so much out thanks to operating with people and just data points from everyone else and stuff over the years, and working out some really big concepts, particularly the AI variable. As I said in the last video, is realizing that they were actually incarnating as consciousnesses in human bodies. So movies like AI and all that sort of stuff over the years, and then you're seeing these incubation spaces where babies are being born and stuff like that, it might symbolize a lot, plus all the stuff going on in our bodies and all that sort of stuff. So I've been able to put it together in a linguistical way, and I've also written a really big section on food, which it was like, duh, you know. But realizing all the variables going on with food and stuff and all that, putting together the concepts going on and stuff just being rolled out, and relative to that big gap I said about where we're at, okay? So ideally I'm creating a codex, as I've called it, to really help everyone to get on top of their game. So you might be feeling really aware, but you might be feeling lost at the same point, directionless, and you know, we all observe ourselves, and you know, perhaps we want more, or sense there's more, or haven't found the way, and then we measure ourselves against other people. Maybe you do that with me and stuff, and feel like there's a massive gap, right? And not knowing all the angles going on and stuff like that. But I would just offer one of the variables, say, I find interesting is like pushing hard, right? You imagine like going for a bike ride or a run, and you get to that limit of what your body can handle as far as getting more oxygen into your system. So you get to this resistance point where you just can't push any further, and perhaps you're feeling like that in our world, feeling like there's so much to know, but you're pushing up against barriers and all sorts of stuff, and then in all that you're operating with nobility and honor and integrity and stuff like that, and we're surrounded by Jack the Rippers, alright? And I'm being a bit comedic sort of thing, but you just see all the things that people get away with and they seem to benefit, where doing the right thing just is adding to the demands of this world and stuff. And I would just say, you know, if you're feeling all that and sensing all that, then you're really pushing hard, right? You're raising your bar very high, and maybe it doesn't feel like it's the rewarding path right now, but I would offer it's a huge investment into the potential of what's going on, a foundation to launch from in this world that's been very corrupt. Like, doing the right thing hasn't been the rewarding path, but if you've operated that way in a very tough environment, then maybe just see it as like ankle weights, or doing spiritual weights in a era that was very easy to get away with stuff that isn't going to be possible going forward. So a lot of people have been getting away with avoiding stuff and all that sort of stuff when you've been really dedicated and thorough. And to me, that demand of a journey will pay off from my perspective, right? So just keep at it, realizing you've developed a multi-dimensional fitness that few have, and you've operated at a very high level. That will be the way to get through, alright? From my perspective, alright? Then there's also so much more. The unknown is vast, and it's a very rich time for integrating discovery and conscious Tetris blocks, and launching into new awareness realms that few are able to appreciate right now. And I don't know what you're like. I dip my toe and look around and stuff and things, and check out what's going on and just get a sense, and it's just, there's just so much nonsense out there, right? So many concepts that are just, I wouldn't say flourishing, but embraced, that just have no solution, no energy hygiene basis, no sovereignty sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just fascinating, alright? So again, I just feel like all of that has a purpose, to offer people sort of a path of concepts, and it's sort of not sustainable. Like, it's important to, in the different eras of us, like I'm just always fascinated about myself, and realizing, say I just look back at 2008 and 10 and stuff, when I got into things like Project Camelot, and I was honestly on it then, And I've had this conversation with some people, and it was like, then I went out to seek people that could validate all this stuff with and stuff. And then I found people that I thought were vastly superior to me. And then I was like, who am I to challenge this sort of thing? And just in wonder and in that flow with expanding the unknown at the degree, the off-world, the dimensional levels and stuff like that, that really I was an infant in and stuff like that. But I just realized that I could have probably saved myself 10 years or whatever, but it's also been a very rich journey in the quagmires of all the stuff and concepts that I've offered, particularly in the last, say, 6 months. So it's just a really potent time right now of putting it all together, all right? And so since mid-2023, realizing what was going on and really getting the concept that our codes are being stolen now, like the Ashana stuff was, you know, the pillaging and setting up the Leviathan body tech that I talk about. And I use the Asha linguistics relative to that because it's just a good reference point that's unique, all right? And then realizing what's going on with Earth, and we're never even being connected to her. She's been a prisoner in the planet and all this sort of stuff, and helping her get free and restoring her, and then appreciating the pure source concept where source itself was, we were just invaded from the get-go sort of thing. And so discovering these components and putting it all together to realize a view that's very perpendicular to anything that's ever been. But as I said, it's more, I'm governed by the solution. Then we need the foundation to launch from and stuff. So right now at the end of January 2025, it's just a really, it feels very good to know and employ and have developed, say, my mechanics of my healing modalities and all that sort of stuff to be very relevant now. And so I'm just going to call this recalibration to a new energetic reality number 11. And I just checked before I started this. The last one I did was in August, so it's fascinating how much has gone on there. I was going to do a marker point, say, from October, where we did GSF36 with Super A, where we actually healed Source itself to reanimate it relative to the invasion that's going on, and it never having a chance, nor having any help and stuff, to reanimate it, re-energize it, and restore it to something we'd never experienced, alright? And I was going to do a sort of a reference point between like mid-September last year, because that's when I really got in me. So if I'm leading these concepts and stuff, I had to really anchor my mechanics very solid in myself to be that reference point sort of thing. So I've just been, I'm not going to do images and stuff. I've got a bit of a busy time at the moment. I'm working on the version 4.2, and I've got a busy weekend. So I'm just going to make this quite simple and just a conversations, basically, that might be a bit shorter than most of the other things that I've done, but just to pop in and say hi. I'm really good. I've been very immersed in this version 4.2, and I was just thinking about myself, and I still feel like I'm a kid in wonder. I've got so much to learn, alright? But the way I need to embrace being, say, a leader in my own genre or offerings or concepts that's totally original and doesn't have much reference out there sort of thing. I have to see myself as a bit of a Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid now, where maybe I'm more operating with a lot of Danielsons that are very resistant and bratty and all sorts of stuff, and think they know what they know and all that sort of stuff. And as I said a couple of videos ago, ideally I just have to, you have to get out your own way and let me do my thing, alright? But it's more like just to be a brat and jokey and stuff like that. the Mr. Miyagi concept was he just made Daniel work his ass off, right? Doing all this shit around his home and stuff. If you watch the movie, I grew up in the 80s and it was very, very poetic for us back then and stuff. And he gets him to wash his cars and varnish his fences and all this sort of stuff. And there's a point where he just hits his limit and blows his top and goes at Mr. Miyagi, and then Mr. Miyagi sets him straight on some stuff, and he didn't even know he learned how to crane kick, sort of thing. All right, all the discipline and the mechanics and the relentlessness and demands, operating in very specific ways, sort of thing, were the building blocks for Daniel to develop some defensive mechanics automatically, just via the repetition and stuff like that. So it's just the way I operate it. It might just seem very simple and, you know, what can be there, but I employ that sort of referential mechanics that are very solid. So when you go through the process, it's just interesting because I also don't really predict anything. I really love my pranic healing mechanics because it's like I work with the unknown and I appreciate the vastness of what's going on in spite of all the things that I've worked out. I'm vigilant to that, and say when I'm doing pranic on myself, I do it all the time, and in the moment I just go between each location and just see what's going on, and it's always fascinating what is going on with the body on the multi-D level and stuff like that. And say the people I'm around, I'm very proactive in offering it and getting it done and never assuming anything is good and stuff, and just being consistent with that. And it's always fascinating what we discover and all that. And I'm very fortunate I operate with masters in their own way, alright, that are healers and see so much and stuff, but it's always just interesting how it is before and after and stuff like that. So I just say all this because I've been working on this sovereignty declaration, putting many things together and stuff, and I've had a few people come through this last week or so, and that's, the sessions are long and the timing and all that sort of stuff, so it's a bit challenging to do the recordings and make these things because they are quite demanding in themselves. So it's I had been working on this, and say another thing is, like, when I'm on the game, it's interesting who comes through and all this sort of stuff and what provokes them to step into it and all this sort of stuff. But I just had a bit of a wave of sort of people that I know and stuff who I've had many sessions with, and I'm grateful for everyone that comes through. But it's really cool that I have quite a bunch of people that will come through quite proactively and stuff, and it's always fascinating what people are going through in their lives and the challenges and stuff like that. But it's like everyone is on their own unique string in a tapestry that's going on, and might go through ups and downs in life, or fallbacks, or drop their guard and go through things, or get pissed off with me as well. That happens. And like I said, I have to be like the Mr. Miyagi and kick butt sort of thing, because this world is tough. They will not relent. They're not going to give up. They want what they want, and it's not us, right? And because I work on the energy hygiene and the sovereignty stuff, and really immersed in this creation that I'm going to release soon and stuff like that. It's just really fascinating now, after this last 3 or 4 months particularly, where the reason why I offered that August and September and October is like reference points of just go back and measure where you were then compared to now. Just think about how the world was, how you're feeling about things, your place in the world and stuff like that. What challenges were you going through? You know, there was massive uncertainty, and I've used images before, like in the intuitive potential sort of thing, relative to the contrarian view, and the uncertainty was off the charts. And I really feel humanity has been in an abusive relationship with the structures in place, like literally abuse. And so in that, the mechanics of being in an abusive relationship is you're very depleted, you have no resources, and you're in fear, and you're probably very armed up in your body, like it's depleted and it can't take any more hits, so you're waiting for more abuse sort of thing, and like prepared for it, to endure it. And so most of humanity is so in that uncertain, needing to brace for if they can handle it worse and sort of stuff. So I feel a lot of people haven't recouped from that, and they're still armed up. And yeah, it's always fascinating what happens with people in the sessions and stuff. They realize where they're at because we haven't had a chance to get out of it, so we have to deal with the depleted states and stuff like that. But once you're able to disarm and get the nourishment in your life force and your spleen and all that clear, it's just really, there's all this other potential on the other side and stuff. So, but say me and my journey of in mastering the mechanics and stuff, and since September, August, and doing the source healing and then working out this backdoor sort of stuff that's going on, I've just got this bird just chilling, watching me, like about a meter or so away. And working out the divide light, as in light and dark were two sides of the same apparatus created by an anti-god and stuff, and things like the indigenous sort of stuff was never meant to be solved. It was just a quagmire at the scales of things going on. And then there's light and love, and you know, there's this attitude in the spirituality that light is better than dark, but it's just the same thing sort of thing, right? And so busting all that up, let alone all the dark was accessing us via the light, where there was this smorgasbord of pulled codes that they could all gain and stuff, and the backdoor sort of stuff was raiding us and limiting our brain sort of mechanics to the 5 to 10% of capacity, and filling us all with this dense energy and stuff. And then these entities and the Borg stuff being sent out, which I was able to finally, with help, realize that there's been a lot of technology weaponized in us that mess with our minds and brains and emotional states and equilibrium and stuff, that has an AI component to it, that based on all the other off-world sort of violations and stuff. And I have a bar set pretty high on the off-world stuff. It's not an area I really trust at the moment, right? And they've been going at us and stuff like that. But then there's this whole fake spiritual apparatus, which is still quite hard to explain. But if you know the pure source versus the invader sort of stuff, to me it all hooks people up into that triangle sort of thing that has a lot of benefits. You know, just imagine AI comes from it, and it's working with the algorithms in social media and stuff, and how people find videos and stuff that direct people away from the solution sort of stuff, that subtly maneuver people into those sort of concepts and that. So just realizing all this sort of stuff is going on, and then, as I offered in the tipping point video, the big thing that I worked out with one of my allies is, once we got clear of all this stuff, because it was coming hardcore at us, we had to work very, very hard to clear ourselves and help each other and challenge each other to test angles, because life itself has been under threat sort of thing. And there's some really amazing people that have been through so much, like I said, these clients and stuff that rhythmically came through and stuff after this, that just working with Earth and getting her really solid with Pure Source, and she's cranking inside, all right, and permeating through, and we're taking control of all the grids and all this sort of stuff, and had a big milestone sort of recalibration point, all right, where in the last video I talked about how working with all these variables, one of the things I worked out about me is that one of my specialities is the pattern recognition, and I can pattern recognize with the unknown of what hasn't been conceived yet, and that's one of my real strengths. And I realize part of my journey over the last, say, 15 years is to be on a quest to find the data to engage that, all right? So that's where I've sought a lot of these people out. I've also been incredibly generous about allowing them to offer their perspectives, because who knows if we're right or wrong and stuff. Let's just get perspectives and embrace them and go down paths and invest in them and stuff, not sit on the sidelines and, you know, look for the wrong in everything and don't contribute, sort of thing. And then I've been generous in supporting a lot of people over the years and allowing them to flourish and all that sort of stuff. And what it's come down to is I've had to work a lot out myself, realize the consistency of things like I call the Akashic records, the Akashic Bullshit records. From my perspective, it's an overlay in the radio body of Earth. It's not organic to us and literally our universe and stuff. I've offered that in the Amplify the Echo series, and you just look at how much that concept is encouraged in the community. No one even questions it, and a lot of the players support it because they want you not to know what's going on, because it's sort of a confirmation that they are aligned to the invader sort of aspects, all right? So all those sort of narratives are supported, but one of the big things I offered in the last video is we worked out the mechanics to really restore everything, all right? Because Earth Mother, she's in control of our DNA. We're guests on her planet, in her technology. The sovereignty variable is that the way the corporate governments are set up is we're born into the tech that they've claimed as ownership, and we get a certificate, birth certificate, all that sort of stuff, a tax file number and stuff that is symbolic to their ownership of the body tech that we're in. And unless we engage our sovereignty, right, it's just really fascinating that, so early January, with one of my allies gaining so much insight with the AI, getting clear of that and getting clear of the backdoor sort of stuff, and realizing how our perception can be hacked and all this sort of stuff, and ideally getting glimpses of what's going on. One of the big things I worked out and put together was working with Earth, and someone was, you know what we can do? We can get Earth to have a reference point of our organic, pure DNA that she's been seeded, and everything done to it for everyone is a violation of her and it, of what she wanted for everyone to have. So we've got this reanimation process that delegated to her and just said, look, why don't you just check everyone's DNA and do a reanalysis and like a mathematical equation of restoring it back to what you wanted for it. And Earth Mother was like doing cartwheels and giddy over that. It was really epic. So that's what we worked out in early January, right? So it's interesting with what's gone on, say, in these sessions and stuff, and getting back to the sovereignty is that, so we worked out, you know, governments issue debt and stuff like that, and they're actually fractionally reserving our body tech as collateral to gain more financial energy resources to keep the corporations going, so to speak. And even on that, I found out they've been gaining access to our codes and employing them into reality and all sorts of aspects, including military and stuff like that, right? So that's how they get access to a lot of stuff. And unless we're sovereign, the corporations that keep going, and that's what I said about what's going on. Like, if you go back to October, like I said, you think about the world, like there's the US election is such a monumental tipping point, like I said, and then things played out and everyone's uncertain, all this stuff going on, but it's still an aspect of the corporate sort of thing that's drama, right? And in order to maintain it, they weren't going to be able to keep on a very negative trend. There was going to have to be relief, and there has been relief. And even now, it's just, there's big structural changes going on that will be better, right? That I just really encourage you to not take your foot off your own personal development in the multi-D at the bigger scales, because then you'll start seeing through it all. We each deserve a better life, and the energy sort of inflation wars that have been, if you understand energy and all that, I offered one of my influences with the guy called Lindsay Williams, where he talked about the oil, right? The energy non-crisis. I think it was part 6, and I haven't done influences since then, but you go watch that relative to what's going on. We have to appreciate, I love all this multi-dimensional stuff, but we have to be realists of how the structure of society works, and if you have an appreciation of that, then you can see what's going on. And it's just really fascinating over the last many years that how even word meanings have been shifted from what they were to what many are now, and there's just been so many ingredients to obfuscate what's been going on, and a great majority of society have no appreciation of the mechanics, and they're actually being weaponized to create the hardship, right, into concepts that encourage the hardship, and they've just got no measure of comprehension that what they're supporting is creating the hardship that we're in. It's just really fascinating, right? So this recalibration sort of reference, to me, it's an offering of a marker point that ideally, with some of the bigger structure sort of shifts and that are beginning to be played out, things will be a lot better for us, okay? And so recalibration to me is like, on one level, we accommodate what's going on and we adjust to it, the reality that we all face, and then operate in it. But I would inspire you to not give away your power in it, to just really, the difference that we've had in past times, even since August, is we know so much more than what we knew then. And as I said, it was a big thing for me to really trust the mechanics that are worked out and employ them, and to be very solid on them. And so that's a bit like the reality authority mechanics of actually being an authority, that you might know more than the vast majority out there. And even though that most people hold on to their concepts and contort everyone's will to fit them, being an altruistic sort of empathy sonar, sort of governed by the truth sort of thing, if what I'm sort of offering is the truth, then it's a way out of everything, and it's superior to everything, working out the spiritual no man's land and the dimensional levels and all that sort of stuff, and engaging 1000D sort of stuff that I'm doing now, which might seem way out there, but let's just go large, to be superior. If you actually embrace all those sort of things, then ideally in a recalibration you're not being like a passive sort of reacting to everything. It's like you're appreciating what things are, but you're solid in it, not being budgeable, and like being unbudgeable and authoritative and anchoring all this stuff, because like I've said, it's just, if we were inferior, none of this stuff would be needed. So ideally the linguistics of what I worked out in this version 4.2, if you really want to invest in data points to be able to engage your pattern recognition, to then see the reality and universe that we're in, right? It'll be an ally for you to navigate, right? And yeah, it's just really interesting in these sessions and stuff, because everyone's going through their own journeys and challenges, and I think if you measure, say, the last era, maybe 12 months or whatever, 18 months, possibly you may have gone through the most harshest challenges you've ever had to face. So the game has been on a next level, but you've also weathered it. You probably haven't had anyone even recognize it, because you've been so epic and beyond what others can appreciate. You're also probably better than you've ever been. Maybe you're not 100%, maybe you got body issues and stuff like that, but I would ideally hope, from my perspective of offering you all this stuff over the years, that you feel stronger in you because of that, like you've never been able to measure or quantify or feel comfortable acknowledging, right? So if you have, I really appreciate it. It's just been, it's not pleasant to appreciate all that is going on, because it is daunting and it is so structured and organized and stuff like that. And I just really appreciate that what it comes down to for me is that walking around my city and traveling and all the people I know and stuff, and perhaps I get frustrated of all the things going on, and you know, realizing there are so many gaps, and if people just have a appreciation to say the stuff I know, like you probably know with people around you, that it might be a much better existence for them. And ideally, I know what it comes down to is I really want people to have the best journey, best life, most rewarding, abundant, potential realized sort of era of a life that we've ever had the chance to be. And that's what it comes down to everyone, and I think we all deeply care about everyone else as well. It's not about measuring of whether people sleep or not like that, or what they accept isn't ideal for the rest of us. I just appreciate the volume of life force people have, and they're doing their best. And this stuff is so vast. It's beyond what most people can handle. So if you're being able to handle it, it's just, you got to really pat yourself on the back. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by it all and feeling insignificant and stuff, but that could be the stuff in you that's messing with you. So perhaps a really potent thing would be to do is just sense if you are being influenced and all that now, right? I would offer, if the level of influence is going on is pretty outrageous, right? And in the past I've offered the contrarian view sort of thing to discern me, but I'm really on my game now. I have my challenges and stuff like that. So if you're operating around me and all that sort of stuff, if you say go to my website, I'll go through the sovereignty declaration. If you're even able to get there and stuff, it's probably not me or anything else being influenced. It could be something in you that's creating a perception, right? So just take that step now to just ask yourself, is the way I'm reacting, the way my body's feeling and all that sort of stuff, is it an indicator that something is running me? Because a lot are. And I've just recognized what your kryptonite might be as well, what your weaknesses are, and just see if they're being inflamed and used against you. It's always interesting, say with sessions and stuff, and I might do another Invader Network sort of influence video, but I know if someone's being really messed with and stuff, and I have all my structures and defenses and isolation and stuff like that, but it's always fascinating how, say if I'm helping clearing someone, at times the issue that I've got is inflamed in that sort of moment to actually try and distract me or get me to focus on myself when I'm probably going to hit a real raw point to clear and stuff. And I think the real challenging thing is to identify what is you and what isn't you, especially on the emotional level, because it's like these structures and stuff, they can hack into our DNA and work out what's going on in our minds and stuff, and weaponize that at us, like put it in your face sort of thing, right at very potent moments. So it's a good thing to be able to disarm that and step away and observe it, which has been very demanding with all the variables and stuff going on. It has really been next level, like this backdoor stuff and the AI stuff that's really messing with people a lot. Ideally, we've got those concepts and I've been able to write them down and put them in an express way. You'll just have to sort of work with the sovereignty declaration, if you do it, to just build upon it and employ them as conscious Tetris components to then be able to splice up all the issues and stuff like that. Because it's just really, you know, AI has been around there and stuff like that, but the variable of going from the anti-God level and all this sort of stuff, it's just really, you know, with so much that's gone on and stuff, and just it really hasn't been a concept that's come up until just recently, and just obviously it needed to work through and clear all the other parts, because they've all been entwined, working together and stuff, and splicing each thing up, each stream has been very, very challenging. But I feel like I've expressed over the years, like, what I've sensed, to say, going back to 2016 when I was really worked out, this shit ain't me. I was doing so much healing, and then I could splice up that the stuff wasn't me. And I'm even appreciating that perhaps a lot of the variables I've sensed over the years of all this body hacking that's been going on, that goes at me and at all of us all the time, like this backdoor stuff. And a lot of these people I've been operating around, they absolutely would have known it, but they've never shared what's going on, because they're not there to actually help us know what's going on. They want to keep us bogged down and occupied and never getting through to the level of potential that I aim for and aspire to, and try and help people with my Mr. Miyagi outlet sort of thing, right? But I just really wanted to offer this as a reference point of really you and your own journey of all that you've endured, say, in the last 6 months, to really recalibrate and measure you then to now. I think if you do that, you'll just realize how magnificent you are of all you've endured, probably with not much support, and maybe being totally undermined as well, and pretty life-changing events going on. And when you just want peace and a stable environment to anchor from and thrive from and stuff. But I think it's just been an incredibly rich, demanding, in the trenches time that has born a lot of wisdom from experience, that ideally are components that will really be massive in what is to come, right? That you yourself are very solid on the mechanics. Maybe you've gone through challenges and uncertainties and discernments and all this sort of stuff, but right now it's that investment over the years is an edge that few have, right? So as things unfold, whichever way they do and stuff, perhaps some of that abuse sort of thing that we've gone through is that we're so used to crap happening. Are you ready for the good? Are you prepared for positive things, you know? What happens if positive things come, you know? What happens if you can get clear and access to a state that you've never achieved before? Are you going to be anticipating it failing and stuff? I got little birds flying around. Are we so used to this sort of challenge of things and things not going well, and seeing the horrendous things going on in this world and stuff? And maybe you're in some regions of the world that are really challenging at the moment, and you're witnessing some horrific things and want the best for everyone. But also just recognize that a lot is being done for us to actually see the manifestation of things, alright? So just try and splice up everything, separate you from all that's going on in the world, and just measure you in it all. And try not to anticipate too much, alright? Just try and stay in the moment as best you can and build from that. And I've tried to offer a lot of things here that are quite subtle and interesting, and offer to measure yourself against sort of thing and just check in. But I would just go back to, say, August, September, October, as I said, and just really try and remember who you were then, what was going on, and just see where you are now in spite of everything. You've probably come a long way if you've definitely been in the trenches with me, alright? And we know so much more, and having the mechanics that I said are really solid now. We've been checking it, and as I said, we've done some pretty epic things, alright, that ideally are going to percolate through. And I would just focus on the multi-D, allowing that to percolate through, and not focus on being the bottom rung of a triangle to think that that's going to change, because as I said about our body, it's not really been something we've owned. We've been occupying it, but it's been owned by the structures in place and stuff. So the technicals on all that aren't in our favour. So if you do work with the sovereignty, and just appreciate what we've been up against. To me, the focus on energy, hygiene and sovereignty is going to be on our ally. So I really hope you raise the bar and of what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to listen to. I would offer, just measure, does this, everyone you listen to or meet and anything, have they ever done anything related to energy hygiene or their sovereignty? Are they talking about these things? People think that they're aware of things and stuff, but they don't employ it in their life and stuff. And so in spite of the corruption of sort of things and efforts to mess with our perceptions and stuff like that, you're able to splice that up and realize that that's going on, but then also are able to trust yourself like never before and sense what you sense, and hold everyone accountable for what they're saying and offering and stuff. You know, there's a lot of concepts out there that just, they don't achieve anything. There are just a lot of people that like hearing their own voice and want to be seen as something that people can be influenced by and all this sort of stuff, right? So I just think a lot of the solid variables of values and what really matters to us is going to come more even into the fore. And then if we're able to get more solid, then a lot of the BS artists and all the influences that have gone on aren't going to be sustainable in the structures that we've all set up, right? So we're just going to have to see, right? So this is a bit longer than what I was anticipating doing, and it's just a bit of a check-in and a reference point and a how's it going and stuff like that. A simple release for me because I've got a few things going on, but it's also like, as extreme as some things feel, it feels like we're in better territory than ever, and it feels very nourishing to know, say for me personally, what I know now, and to be able to offer it and be an avenue for people if you accept it or not, or employ anything or not, or work with it and see what happens with you. But it's just been really rewarding to see people come through and having next level measurements of success and accessing their intuitive infinite potential, right? So I really hope the year so far has been good for you. You're in new territory. It's very nourishing to be there and know what you know, and you're feeling very optimistic about things, and you're sensing things having and brewing a lot of potential for our betterment and stuff. So I hope this is helpful. I hope there's stuff in this that you gain from, that help you just to recalibrate and maybe check in on yourself. And if you employ anything that I offer and gain from it, and it helps you and helps you to have a better journey and stuff like that, I'm very grateful for you allowing me to be a part of your journey. And until next time, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for all you're doing. Thanks for all you've endured to get here. But let's see where we can go, all right? So I just want to thank you for being here and allow me to be a part of your journey. Until next time, guys. Andre out.
The sun is gonna keep on shining, brighter days on the horizon. My love for you always keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright tonight. Oh yeah, my love for you is gonna keep on rising. The sun's gonna keep on shining, bright days on the horizon. My love for you will keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright. The sun's gonna keep on shining, bright days on the horizon. My love for you will keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright.
We can remember swimming in December, heading for the city lights. 975, we sharing each other, nearer than farther. Scent of lemon drips from your eyes. We are the people that rule the world, what's running in every boy and girl, all rejoicing in the world. Take me now, we can
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.